the retirement benefit. Secondly, monthly salary means the full rate of total contributions of regular monthly salary, not including per diems, allowances, expense reimbursements payable to members pursuant to the code section. And then third, which is 11, the term of office means a period of time beginning when an individual receives his or her commission as a member of the General Assembly from the Secretary of State, which is issued in accordance with the law. And then it goes from that point into the second section we'll talk about in just a second. So any question about how we define salary, the average monthly salary, the term of salary, and how that is calculated as far as the retirement funds that you will receive. Any questions about that, the definitions? Any questions? Oh, great. Section 2. In order to accomplish some of the things that we're asking today, and this was also a request and had been in the form of a bill that was being offered by Representative Tommy Benton, was to increase, and which we will need to do because of the increased liability of funds that will have to be paid out in the future. We will be raising the contribution amount to 9.5%. 9.5% of his or her monthly salary, such as contributions we made through the payroll deduction by the fiscal office. Now that's section 2. Any questions about that? We've been paying into it a percentage, but as you pay out, there has to be some way of collecting money to compensate for those new payouts. Any question about the 9.5%? Okay. Section 3, and this is a portion of this is the a method of calculating the cost of purchasing credible services for prior military service, and it gives the process that someone would have to go and to achieve in order for someone to take their prior military service and have that accepted through the retirement plan. It does say, and I won't read this, members shall pay the Board of Trustees the regular employee's contribution on the monthly salary received by members of the General Assembly at the time the military service was rendered, plus interest on such employees' contributions at the rate of 7% annual compounded. Now, again, this is a provision that gives those who have prior military service an opportunity to get into this, but they'll have to pay for that ability to be a part of the LRS. Any questions on Section 3? Now, I don't want to go too fast, so if you need to say you're going too fast, slow me down. When we get to the vote, I don't want to slow down. But I do want to give you plenty of time to, if you have any questions, to be able to chime in. Section 4. What this does is increase the monthly retirement benefits payable to retired members and inactive members to $50, which is the multiple of the number of qualified years you have served. Give you an example. First of all, you have to serve a minimum of 8 years in order to qualify. And if you decided to take the retirement based on the $50 per year, that would be 50 times 8. There is another opportunity of how the retirement would be calculated, and we find that we find that in section 5. Let's see. Hold on. All right. In section 5, this changes the method of calculating retirement benefits for current active members and for any person who first becomes a contributing member after July the 1st, 2018. And this change would allow the members to receive a retirement allowance equal to the greater of 38% of the member's average monthly salary, or the monthly retirement allowance provided by the code section that I mentioned, which was the $50 per qualified year that you serve. Let's give another example. I did a little kind of reaching out and touching this to see what that means. Simple math would be if you were here for 10 years, had 10 years qualified service, and you used the $50 per year as the multiplier, the 50 times that, then that is $500 a month. Okay, if you were to take as present the monthly average monthly salary that you're paid right now, and you did it at 38%, you would find the 10 years would be more at the 38% than it would at $50. The 11th year is when you would see the difference between a 38% of your average salary and the $50 per year of service. And in any time that the two people that have helped me so much, matter of fact, they've helped me a lot, is sitting here, and anything that I'm saying that is incorrect or I need to emphasize something a little bit more, please stop me. So far, so good? Okay, great, man. All right, so do you understand kind of the simple mathematics of how you would figure your retirement based on your average monthly salary right now? And I figured about the 11th year, you would gain more in your benefits at about the 11th year. And so those who have been here for a long time or plan to be here for a long time, I think this would be a tremendous benefit to you. All right, and then and that's section 5. And of course, I think section 6 is self-explanatory. And so that is the simple bill. That is really a simple bill. But I'm going to ask if anyone has a question, and I believe I do have a question. Or, who, down here? Oh, yes, sir. Mr. Chairman rules. I hope that gets to see this soon.
So do I. I want to know what happens. I'm going to speak out here. If by some quirk of nature, the amount that went from 17,000 whatever to 29,000, which one of these would be the best way to go? And do you have to have the 29 for 10 years before you can start using that 38 percentile.
Yes, please. That's a question I figured would come up.
So which of the two formulas will work for any given individual is going to depend on that individual's amount of service, and it will be ERS's responsibility to figure out which of those two provides the higher benefit and to select those two. So I think that answers your first question. And the second question, if the LRS, your salaries were to be raised to 29,000, then it would just be a matter of working that into the highest average salary formula, which is the Chairman Battles explained was the highest 24 consecutive months. So basically your highest average salary would equal that 29,000 after 2 full years of service. If somebody were to leave in the middle of that period of time, then it would be some average of the pre and post increase salaries.
Are there other questions that you'd like to ask of our fine LRS representative? Mr. Chairman?
I'm good right now.
Are you good? Okay. Are there any other questions? I can't believe Howard hadn't asked a question. I like it. Never. I should have never asked that question. But okay, I don't see any other questions. Is everyone clear? Is there anyone that has any questions about this piece of legislation? Very serious. Any questions? Anybody? Any concerns? Sounds good? Sounds bad? You good? All right. Chairman Meadows. Yeah, oh, I thought, no, up here. His question.
I could do 30 quicker than I could do 29, that's why. I ain't gonna be here 30. No, salary.
The 38. Yes. Did you have a question?
I will ask a question. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to clarify that this is the legislative retirement account. It has nothing to do with any other retirement plans that may be out there.
None whatsoever.
That bills may be dropping, discussing other plans. This is only legislative.
LRS, that's correct.
LRS.
Correct. Thank you. LRS.
Yes.
I just want to make sure people are not confused, though. So.
Okay. Any other questions?
Just
All right. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me. Her.
there you go.
Okay.
Your railroad ain't dead yet.
Yes, sir.
I'm just trying to wrap my arms around the additional amount of money that members put into retirement. How much is that?
So currently,
4?
you have an 8.5%,
8.5.
but some of that is picked up by the state. So you pay 3.75% out of your paycheck. With this raised to 9.5%, it'll go to 4.75%.
Okay. When at retirement at 65, if somebody wanted to retire, they not only get the $28 a month.
Well, right now it's 36. That's out-of-dated language.
Okay, 30. They get the 36 times the number of years per month.
Correct.
Did they get the additional whatever we've been putting in?
No, that serves as a
Or-
guaranteed minimum benefit. So if somebody were to retire and say pass away within just a few months, the remainder of the amount that you had put in plus interest would be refunded to your beneficiaries.
But after
Some period of time, that
Ti-
wears away.
after 10 years, but I'm still having to pay the 4%.
As a
For-
retiree, you don't have to pay it.
No, but as an active
As
member,
an active member, you do, yes.
and even though I can't get any of it, I have to pay it in there.
That's kind of,
That's what funds, that's in part the benefits that are payable to you at retirement.
Okay.
presently you're paying 8.5% now. This is increasing by 1%.
Y'all, I know I make $516 a month after the man gets his portion. That's a lot of money. Surely. Okay.
Okay. Ms. Patty?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you for your work on this legislation. But I do have a question about section 4, line 59, where it reads, in lieu of 8 years of service, a member may substitute 4 years of office in the General Assembly. Can you kind of help me understand that?
Would you like me to take that question? So in the past, we have used the 8 years of service standard for vesting as literally 8 years of service. There was some question, though, about those individuals who are elected after a term has technically already begun, so there's a special election or something like that. What constitutes a term of office in the General Assembly? Like I said, we had always considered a term to be a full 2-year term. This bill will change that so that the partial initial term, say there's only 1.5 years in the first term by that particular individual, that would count as one of the 4 terms. So essentially, somebody would say 7 to 7.5 years could theoretically vest.
Okay, so you're saying that I don't have to wait for 8 years? I can, after 7.5, I may be eligible to
Well, 4 full terms, whatever that means for you.
4 full terms. All right,
Correct.
okay.
And we define the beginning of a full term not as January, but as the certification by the Secretary of State.
Got it. Thank you.
You're welcome. But I will say one thing about that. On the back end, you have to complete the term on the back end, right? So you can't resign in July and count the rest of that particular term.
Not that I'm planning to.
I understand. I just
Yeah.
wanted to make that clear for the committee.
Okay. You got a question?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And as you know, and to add to that, we discussed in my office, if somebody was elected for their first time this year and sworn in January of next year, served 4 full terms, they would be 3 days short of 8 years based off the actual
That's
numbers.
right. That was the other
And
circumstance.
that's
we
the
were trying to
argument
fix.
for this, that it would be treating some people differently.
You're right. Thank you.
We did, matter of fact, we had to do 2 actuarial studies, and there is a natural cost to this. The cost of this bill would be approximately $616,000, almost $617,000 for the first year. Increase in the unfunded actuarial total was about $8 million. There would be an increase of $2,754,000 per active member in the employee's contribution rate as a result of this legislation. So that gives you some idea of what that extra penny is going to generate for us.
If I can make one correction to that, it's $2,754 per active
What'd I
member.
say?
2 million.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Well, yes, it is. And it does say $2,754. I apologize for that. So with that in mind, any other questions? And we do have some questions. Who is? Chairman Maxwell?
He's ready to make a motion. We can't get our lights to light up down here. We didn't know if you were seeing us or not. We just punched.
Well, I do have your light on.
Appropriate time, we're ready to make motions.
Okay, all right, hold on one second. Any other discussion? Yeah, let me, I was reminded of something. This has had number of substitutions. This is, of course, House Bill 624, but it is LC 43082. 27S. Does everyone have that? Okay. All right, so we have a motion.
Chairman Coleman was making the motion, I just brought it to your attention.
Oh, well, thank you.
I make a motion to pass.
House Bill 624 as a substitute. Thank you to address that. We have a motion, we have a second. Do we table? No.
We had a me too. Isn't that a second?
Me too, that's a second, I guess. Okay, all in favor, let me know by saying aye. Any opposition, like sign. Motion's carried, and we will move this on to rules. Here, you want to just carry this with you? Chairman Meadows, you want to carry this with you?